Hello. You made it. Just in time. The first part of lives are always so, I don't know if you can hear Bailey laughing, but the first part of lives are so stressful for me. I don't know why. Like the first 5 minutes, I feel like I fumble my way through it. It's, it's not like having a conversation across the table from somebody. Oh, hey, Angela, you made it. My hair's doing something weird today. We're just going to go with it. Well, welcome to your first live. I am certainly no pro, and I hope I don't disappoint you. I made an outline of topics in case I forget, because y'all know I forget all the time. So, the 1 year anniversary of me being on YouTube is coming up. And I have been working my little behind off on a video, and I have never put more research into a video. The filming was the easiest part, but the editing, oh my God. The editing on this video is kicking my tail. I have been editing for like 12 hours a day for the past 3 days, and I closed it out. I've got up to like 20 minutes in of I think it's like 38 minutes, and past 3 days, 12 hours a day, I've only got into 20 minutes. And that's because there's so many like things I had to look up, and like I'm going over all my gear and like just all kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's one of those things that like as you get better editing, you think of things that you want to do. And so I don't know, but Lee told me the other day, or I was frustrated yesterday, and Lee said something to me he said, "Are you sure that this isn't your perfectionism getting the best of you?" And I was like, "No." Hey, Debbie. Hey, Vicky. I was just telling them my 1 year YouTube anniversary is coming up. So I've been working really hard on a video. Oh, my makeup look, thank you. I just did. So I know Mary's on Instagram following me, but I don't know if you are, Angela. No, you're on Facebook. I've been doing stories for the past few days, and yes, Vicky, I have spent it's crazy. Oh, Kaylin, you're on there too. What's your username? Which one are you? Hey, Daniel. But I've been doing stories the past 3 days, and I don't know, it's been kind of fun. And for some reason, doing Instagram stories almost feels like, in a way, it takes some pressure off on including everything I want to include in a YouTube video, so I can like do the day-to-day stuff, like just little clips of Bailey and whatever on Instagram or Facebook, and then make a YouTube video about whatever I want. So I don't know if that made any sense. Yes, Angela. Oh my gosh. So the video I'm working on I broke it down like so. Well, I can tell y'all. People on the live are like people that like want to interact with you, and I don't mind talking about it. It's not like I'm keeping a big secret, but I do have something to announce. But I was waiting to like 5 or 10 minutes in when like most people would be on before I get into that. So before I get into that, I don't remember seeing you on there, Kaylin. I'll have to look. The video of Bailey yesterday. If none of y'all didn't see it, he was in this exact spot right here, and he was sound asleep. And I went, Bailey, like that, and scared. See, he still jumped. Scared the ever loving crap out of him. And I actually felt bad because I did not mean to scare him like that bad. I'm surprised nobody's come for me yet about that. But okay, the YouTube video, like it starts out why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, the things that I did, the things that I started with, all my equipment, the editing software, how much everything cost, and then goes into like some of the mental health aspects and all of that. And it's very detailed. And I really wanted to do it, number one, because when I started my YouTube channel, I would watch lots of other creators, like they would do one for finally got monetized and they would like document it, or 1 year being monetized or whatnot. And so I just wanted to include my little part in there in case it helps somebody, especially somebody that's like older, like older millennials who may not be as tech savvy as some of the younger people. And then I'm going to show how much I've made. I've had people tell me not to do that, but I'm doing it because other YouTubers use that information to help. Like it's just I'm not hiding anything. It's not a big secret and whatever. So I have no problem saying how much I've made. So I'm going to show that. And oh, you saw it too, Barb? Oh my God, it was so funny. Oh, for those of you who haven't seen it, I can just play it for you right here. Because it is actually really funny. Okay. Hold on. All right, I'm going to put it up. I'm going to have to show you this way. But here he is. He's sleeping. And yes, I'm wearing the same shirt. Anybody else wear the same clothes 2 days in a row? No, just me? It was so funny. But anyway, so I'm hoping to have that video done. Oh my God, I can't get it done fast enough. Sometime in the next couple of days. And I told Lee that if this video does terrible, I'm going to be devastated because I've never worked that hard on a video. And now I know why successful YouTubers don't do their own editing, because they would never get anything else done. So, okay. Yes, I make pennies upon pennies, the audacity. Yes, I do. We have another one coming up first week in November. So, the announcement. I don't have a date because it depends on how fast I can get this video edited and all of that. But I don't want to call it a podcast, but it really is a podcast. Thank you, Mary. That's really sweet. Because I did the Neck Deep podcast, and then I did the Unbreakable stuff. Well, this one is going to be called the 411 on 911. And it's going to be me and a friend of mine, Kaylee, who was a dispatcher. And it's kind of funny how, not funny, it's actually pretty wild how Kaylee and I are so tangled in so Kaylee was a dispatcher, I was a paramedic. Kaylee had a really bad car accident and I ran the call. And she has been disabled since that car accident. She's had a really, really hard time. And so she and I, well, and this was before my accident. So I ran her. Well, then 6 months later, I had my accident, disabled, lost my job. So we really went through, hers wasn't like as life threatening as mine, but the injuries that she have really been hard on her. And so we relate a lot to, losing our jobs and feeling isolated and being mad at our bodies and the medical stress of all of that. So she was looking for, oh, well, thank you, Angela. Hey, Eileen. I was just telling them about a little podcast venture coming up with me and a friend of mine, Kaylee, who was a dispatcher. We're going to call it the 411 on 911. But before I officially start it, I feel like I need to talk to a lawyer. So I am currently asking questions and trying to find like some kind of a media lawyer just to cover all my bases and make sure that I am not doing anything that could get me in any kind of legal trouble. So I don't know all of the ins and outs of that, and I would just feel better talking to a professional about what I can and can't say or whatever. Obviously, I would never say anyone's name or address or anything like that. But I'm sure nobody else in here can answer my question, but what I am worried about. Yes, Vicky. So here's my dilemma, my biggest issue. Let's say, so like the first video that we're going to do, we're going to start out very lighthearted. And the first video we do is going to be, and she's not going to know my calls and I'm not going to know what she's wrote down. But our first video is going to be some of the weirder or like funnier encounters we've had. Her as a dispatcher, me as a paramedic. So that's going to be like, it should be fun and lighthearted and whatnot. But what concerns me is like, I know, because we can talk about funny calls, scary calls, sad calls, calls that I have been mad at the dispatchers and things that we have done to piss dispatch, just toxic workplace environments, all of those things. There's so much to talk about with the 411 on 911. But let's just say, for example, I gave an example to her today about a story about a call that I ran that was like really wild. But in order for me to like tell that story, there are details that have to be pretty specific. And so if I were to tell that story, because that would have literally happened to nobody else, then people like around my very small town, if they were to see it, they might would know who it was. So I don't know. That's what I'm having a hard time figuring out, and why I feel like I need to talk to a lawyer. I do know there's another paramedic that I've followed for years because he started with the blog and then he's wrote several books, and I read some of his stuff, and his content was about encounters and calls and stuff like that. And I've tried to reach out to him to see if he could uh like put me in touch with somebody about how you are supposed to be able to share that stuff or whatever. And he, of course, he never responded, but so I hope that's true, Barb, but I definitely would feel better talking to a lawyer. I mean, obviously I know the um I would never disclose somebody's name or even what state. I've worked in 2 different states. I've worked for several different services, so I would never even say what service it was, what area it was, but there's a lot of calls that are um like if I was to say what happened to that person, kind of like with me, if somebody were to say motorcycle wreck, internal decapitation, well, they're going to know that it's me. So I don't know. I just don't want to get in any trouble. Oh, and another interesting thing about my own wreck, I did not know for a year. So my coworkers ran my call. His name is Steven. Steven and Stephanie were the crew that ran my call. But there was another paramedic who got there first, and apparently he was the main, he was the lead provider on scene of my accident, and I didn't even know it for like a year. So he actually commented on a Facebook post of mine the other day, and we got in touch, and Lee and I are going to take him out to lunch sometime soon because I have a ton of questions for him, and he seemed really eager to talk to me. So who knows, maybe one day I can have him on. I don't know, but I really am excited about the 411 on 911 because Kaylee and I went to lunch today and we were talking, and I remember before I became a paramedic, just not knowing anything about it, and you would see like a bad car wreck. You know what? I'll tell you. I have a story for you. This was before I was ever in EMS. And what kind of got me curious about it, I was 18, I think, and me and my ex-husband, my boyfriend at the time, were driving, and there was a really bad wreck on the highway, and it had just happened right before we came. We didn't see it happen, but we got there like right after. Well, they were 3 or 4, I can't remember now, teenagers, and all of them but one were ejected, and 2 were killed immediately, and one was dying and the other one was walking around. And that was my first time seeing something so horrific. And I just remember there was one kid, I don't remember how old he was, but they were all teenagers. They were all under 18, but there was one who was about, I don't know, like 30 feet from the car, and his body had snapped, and so he was completely folded in half, but he was still he had some agonal breathing, so he was dead, just not all the way dead yet, basically. And I remember looking at him like that's a human being. A human being is not supposed to look like that. And the ambulance showed up, and I will never forget my 18-year-old brain watching them. They showed up, and the crew walked over to him. No, they didn't run. They walked over to him. There was calmness. There was no no rush, no excitement. They got out, they walked over there. I don't even remember them talking to each other, and they unfolded him, picked him up, put him on the stretcher, and got in the ambulance, and then more people started coming, but I just remember thinking, wow, that did not faze them at all, and I always found that interesting. And then years later, I got into EMS. So my whole point in saying that was I know that people are curious about the 411 on 911 because I was. I remember thinking to myself, what all do these people have to see and do that they can show up on a scene like that, and they're almost like just robotic about it? And I don't know, that always stuck with me. So there's a pre 411 on 911 story for you. How do you not show emotions when you're on a call? Mm, I mean, you just go into work mode, and X, Y, and Z has to be done, and that you're the one that's got to do it and make decisions, and you do it and you get it done, and then you process it later, is how you don't show emotions. But I've got to find a lawyer to talk to, because those are the kind of stories. See, I don't have a problem sharing that story. I was not a medic. That was a car crash that I ran up on, while I was still a teenager. But, there are certain calls that are just oddly specific, very interesting, but oddly specific. And I just don't know the ins and outs of all of that. So I've got to figure that out. But once I do, the 411 on 911 will be making its debut on YouTube. What do y'all think? Does that sound interesting? Red, yes. I could not be a dispatcher. That would drive me crazy. In fact, I will tell you, I used to be the training officer at a company. I used to work for a company, and I was the training officer, and sometimes when I would run a call and it was like a super interesting call, I would, and I wouldn't know what happened to them. Because I was the training officer, I would have to do QI stuff. And so the patient information was available to me. And so I would call them the phone number, and I would say, hey, this is Christy. I'm with blah, 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 and I'm the training officer. And, we're just following up to see how so-and-so is doing. Is there anything that we can do? I would check in, and it was also PR, and it was also me getting, an update. And of course they didn't have to tell me, but most of the time they were very happily tell me, oh, well, the doctor said blah, blah, blah. And then I would know, okay, because that's helpful for me. Like when you just drop somebody off at the hospital with all these things wrong and you don't know what's actually causing it, helpful to actually get feedback so you can learn. Or maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. But that's what I would do. And that is why I could not be a dispatcher. So he's asleep again. Should I? Oh, Psycho Penguin, I'm reading your comment. Your Unbreakable podcast turned up on my feed. Thanks, YouTube algorithm. I've binge watched since. Thank you so much for sharing. You're an amazing storyteller with such valuable things to share. Thank you. That's really sweet. I got a phone call that reminded me. I got a phone call this morning, a strange phone call from somebody that I have not seen or talked to in well over 10 years, a former coworker. And she did not know about my accident or anything about me in the last like 13 years. And she randomly called me today because one of my YouTube videos showed up on her homepage and she had no idea. And apparently she had a severe medical problem, was in the ICU for, she said, a month and on the ventilator for like 3 weeks. So she said there was, when I was talking about how I couldn't control anything and I couldn't communicate, so I would just like kick my feet. And she said that she did the same thing. And excuse me, she said that she would do the same thing. And when she saw me talking about that, she was like, "Oh my gosh, like you're the only person." That's what she called me and told me. She's like, "You're the only person that I know that has been through something like this and that I can talk to about this." And um, so that was neat. Never expected to hear from her ever again, but it's interesting. Oh, that's good, Kim. I just could not be a. And a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of questions about that. Well, why don't you go be a dispatcher? Because I can't, work on an ambulance anymore. But mm-mm, I don't want, I don't want any part. And I'm, I'm done, and I'm just done. Does my dad still ride? Yes, he does. Hey, Julie from Australia. Thanks for being here. Yes, Susie, my dad does still ride. It makes me uncomfortable, but he, you know, I mean, there's nothing that, I don't know. I'm very careful what I say about other people, about people who ride motorcycles, because I know the mindset. I know that they know, I know that they know the risk. Anybody that rides a motorcycle knows the risk. And they all know somebody that's had a wreck, or, you hear about people getting killed on motorcycles all the time. So I don't know. I just don't feel like it's my place to tell anybody, not to, or that you're stupid or whatever. All I can say about it is that for me, hindsight, it was never worth the risk. So, there are certain people that are just, and when I say like very few, I mean very few people that just, it's their life. They have to, it's the only way they can be happy. And for the rest of us, like for me, it's definitely not worth the risk. And in fact, every time we go somewhere and I see the motorcycles out, I get this knot in my stomach, and I don't know. Oh, he is asleep again. Should I do it? How about I just poke him this time? Okay. Should I do it? All right. I don't I don't wanna scare him as bad as I did yesterday. He's so funny. I love you. He's been saying, for 2 days now, "Want a beer? Want a beer? Want a beer?" Kim says, "I started out as a dispatcher. I couldn't go back. I think my 28 years in public service has been fulfilling, but I can't do it anymore." That's how I feel. It's like I don't know, I think I always kinda thought that once I was out of it, I might miss it, but so far, I've not missed it at all. But so I forgot to tell y'all about this, but last week, Lee and I were sitting outside and he got a text from his boss at EMS and to remind him that they had a PR thing to go do. So basically when you like at this company, there would be like local things for kids or whatever. And so we would have to, if we were on shift and there was a PR thing, we'd have to take the ambulance and do the show and tell and do the PR thing. And everybody hated doing it. But I always was the one that had to do it on my shift because I was female and apparently I don't know why. I was the only female and all the guys on my shift thought it was my job. So I usually did the PR stuff and like none of the crews wanted to do it. So anyways, I texted and called my old boss and was like, "Hey, I live right down the road, so I can do some of these PR things if you want me to. So I'm going to start doing those. That way, it's a way that I could earn a little bit of money. And all I got to do is drive ambulance. I'm not actually running calls. And then I do the PR show and tell or whatever. And that way, the people on shift don't have to do it and everybody wins. So when my husband and I were on the bike on the highway, I saw a little old lady in a car crossing the highway. I sensed she was going to come all the way over. I wrapped my arms around him. Did y'all wreck? I might have missed another comment, so if anybody knows any lawyers, um yeah, I really want to do the podcast. I think it would be and Kaylee, we're very similar. So her husband is a police officer. My husband's paramedic, and our husbands know each other pretty well. And yeah, stepping up into the ambulance would be, I don't know, it would be hard for me to climb up in there now, but we'll see. Um, uh, oh, Kelly and I have a lot in common with kind of what we've been through, and her husband are like 13 years apart, and me and my husband are 13 years apart. So we cover all the public service from dispatcher, paramedics, police officer. There's quite a bit of things that we could talk about. I just want to do it the right way and not get in trouble. So I definitely need to speak to someone. And I don't know how much something like that costs. Like, how much does it cost to like consult with a lawyer about something like that? I have no idea. That's the hard thing about doing YouTube is like I have a medical background. I don't have a business background. I don't have a technical, like computer background. So all of that is new to me and I don't know the ins and outs of it. So I'm just kind of figuring it all out. And I have lots of big plans and ideas, and there are not enough hours in the day, is how I feel right now. Yes, Megan, I'm looking for a lawyer. Are you a lawyer? I'm looking for a lawyer to consult with about uh like some podcasts that I want to do. I don't know if you let me know let me know, Megan, and I'll know whether I need to like re-explain everything or not. I don't want to keep repeating myself and be, oh, your husband's a lawyer. Um, well, does he need a client? um, that's what I was thinking too, Revnitz. Revnitz said you need a lawyer who specializes in so I know one lawyer I'm friends with on Facebook, and I messaged him today and said I just have an inquiry about, and I was hoping maybe you could point me in the right direction. And he didn't respond. I didn't know who else to ask, so I actually opened up Chat GPT and asked it, and it told me like the types of lawyer and stuff. So I did some quick Googling, and I went to Fiverr, and I don't know if any of y'all have ever been to the website Fiverr, but wow, there's a lot of things that you can outsource. Like a lot of YouTubers use Fiverr to find, um, what's the word, freelance video editors and stuff like that. And there's also lawyers on Fiverr that do freelance stuff. And so I thought about reaching out to one of them and go in that direction. Yeah. Plus, it just feels like when you say I need to talk to a lawyer, it almost feels like you're up to something sketchy. But I just want to make sure that all my bases are covered. I keep buffering. It's just me. I help people gain watch hours, and my internet's telling me it needs a break. I will watch on the replay. Bye, Angela. Go do something else besides sitting on the internet all day. Just kidding. Just kidding. You're retired. You can do what you want. So. At Christy, no, we didn't wreck, but the lady did what I thought she would do. We had to take the shoulder. Wow. So do y'all still ride, Linda? Or was that enough to scare you away from it? So I do have something I could actually tell y'all that I haven't told you before. I haven't told y'all in like a regular video. Hey, Jesse. I haven't told y'all in a regular video just because I knew the smart ass comments would come, and I got a comment today that was like, anyways. So the day of my accident was the first time I rode that motorcycle. And when I pulled it out of the barn, that motorcycle was a lot bigger and a lot heavier than my last motorcycle. And when I was pulling it out of the barn onto my driveway, going real slow, and the hardest things to do on a motorcycle are going at very slow speeds. And I went to trying to turn sharp out of that barn, and the front tire got off the edge of the driveway and in the wet grass, and it slipped, and I laid it down in the driveway, and my dad helped me pick it up. The bike was fine. I was fine. It was just And that should have been my sign, but my dumbass thought, "Meh, it'll be okay." And here we are. But so there's that. Yes, I feel like an idiot and am very embarrassed about that. And that is why I have not told y'all that before. And apparently I'm feeling brave today for telling you now. So can't wait. Can't wait for those fun comments. Oh, Prairies Rock. There's a YouTube for that. I searched legal advice for podcast hosts and a bunch of stuff. Okay. Wow. So I did some Googling and I didn't see a whole lot, but I didn't think to search YouTube actually. My cat's got the zoomies. I'm doing good, Jesse. How are you doing? No, we are divorced now. I'm not afraid to get back on a bike. So you're still riding? Trying to think if there's anything else going on that I need to update y'all on. I think that's about it. I've just been super this is some self-improvement stuff, but like normally I like to sleep in. I've never been a morning person and I hate that because I want to be a morning person. But this last week, since I filmed that 1 year on YouTube video, I've been getting up at 7 every day, getting a shower, getting dressed, and going to work. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed getting up early, being more productive, and feeling like I've got more time to get things done. And I definitely want to keep that up. Christy, no, I don't. Now, okay, I got you. Bailey. Y'all think Bailey would be a good host? Would you be a good host? What if I put the microphone in front of him and walk off? He'll probably talk if I walk off. Y'all want to hear Bailey talk? Hold on. I'm going to put the microphone up to him and I'm going to walk where he can't see me for a minute and see if he'll talk to you. That's normally when he talks, is when I walk away. Okay, Bailey. There you go. You didn't talk very much. Could y'all tell what he said? He said, "You want a beer?" He's been on that one for 2 days, over and over. "You want a beer? You want a beer? You want a beer?" And we just keep telling him, "You drank it all." I think he's got an alcohol problem because he says, "You want a beer?" and "Where's the whiskey?" all the time. That's his two. And then we have the goat that also loves beer. So I'm not really sure what that says about us as a family, but I don't drink beer, just my pets. So let's see. Linda, he said, "Do you want a beer?" Um, maybe some of the law YouTubers can direct you where you can find out more. Law and number, uncivil law, Bailey of the Rookie. I'm gonna look into it. I just hope it's not too expensive, but I would just feel better talking to somebody. That's hilarious, Vicky. There's your channel motto. I don't drink beer, just my pets. That's funny. I really like that. I don't drink beer, just my pets. Does Lee count as a pet then? He's the beer drinker. And my goat, Mo, not only does he drink beer, but he prefers Sierra Nevada, and he knows it by the green label. If Lee walks outside with a Sierra Nevada, that goat goes nuts. It's wild. Their goats are actually smarter than most people give them credit for. They're pretty smart. And Mo is a IPA fan. So let's see. You are so precious, Bailey. Thank you. Emily D. Baker is another YouTube attorney. Yeah, Canadian lawyer probably wouldn't help me much. I need a like media. I need someone that is like a media lawyer, but also like healthcare. So there's doctors and stuff that write books, and there's people that write books. So I would imagine that would be the same as like a podcast, but I'm sure that they have like agents or lawyers and whatnot. I just need some help. I don't want to do this the wrong way. And I could see how that could easily be a problem if I don't do it the right way. And I could see how it could be successful if I do it the right way. So I got to talk to Lee. I haven't even talked to him. He knows about the podcast and he thinks it's a great idea and is all for it. But I haven't talked to him yet about that. I want to talk to a lawyer. So we'll see. What about a HIPAA lawyer? Yes. Yeah, somebody. And if I reach out to a lawyer and they can't help me, hopefully they can point me in the direction of where I need to go. Or I can just get on Fiverr. I don't know. Any more coyotes? No, Linda, we have not had any more coyotes. But I was on Facebook the other day and a friend of mine that lives in this county posted pictures of some coyotes they had killed. And I was like, hey, one walked right by my window. I don't know if I told y'all this when that happened last time, but it was in the middle of the day and we were just sitting here in the living room and a coyote at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon walked right by our window, just one, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen a coyote just in broad daylight like that." But and then we had that incident on my last live when they were right there, but since then, I haven't heard anything, and all the goats are fine. So, I don't know. I wonder, though, if coyotes would, like, kill my dog. I don't know much about coyotes, so I feel kinda ignorant about that. I don't know, I just don't know anything about coyotes, and I would rather lose a goat than my dog. Mo, especially. Let's see. Well, dang, an ad just came up, but it was for chocolate chip. Oh, I gotta show y'all something. Y'all remember the last live, those of you that were here. So, I gotta show you something. I gotta show you what came today. After the last live and your suggestions, I signed up for Home Chef, and we're going to give it a try this week and see how we like it. I will keep you updated on that, but I felt like taking the planning and stuff out would be helpful, so we'll see. And I thought y'all would appreciate that since y'all were here for that whole conversation. So before we get off, because I still have a lot of editing to do y'all have any suggestions as far as do y'all have any suggestions or something I haven't mentioned that you would really want included on the 411 on 911? Like, what are you most interested in other than crazy calls? Is Home Chef expensive? That first box was a discount, and so it was like $50 for 4 meals. Okay, Mary, I will look into Dinnerly too. I told I'm just on like a trial basis, so I'm not opposed to canceling and trying something else. But I think it would be a really good idea. I actually reached out to um, I'm trying to read comments and talk at the same time, and y'all know that does not work well for me. Thank you, Red. I will be careful with my dogs. Um, oh, I did reach out to HelloFresh because I'm that girl, and I was like, I didn't say this, but I was thinking I really need help with meal planning and all of that. So I would be the perfect content creator to promote a home delivery food service. And of course, I haven't heard back, but obviously the cost, maybe a mental health self care thing too. How do you cope with distressing cases? Q&A for the podcast. What does the typical support dispatchers and EMS crew receive? It seems very psychologically damaging. So much to say about that. I will say this. Bailey's being cute. I will say this about that. When I was in school, we were always told that when there was like a mass casualty event or just something super like extra horrific, you were supposed to have a like crisis debriefing with everybody that was involved on the call. And like you were supposed to have the first one within like 24 hours, then you were supposed to have another one like 48 hours later. And I've never had one my entire career. I never been to one. That was never offered for any of the stuff that I ran, and I ran some horrible stuff. Those meal kit things may have a certain subscriber threshold or something, which is dumb since I get their junk mail by the buttloads every day. Yeah. I think one of the episodes would be great with funny. Barb, that's definitely one we're going to do. I was talking to Kaylee today, and like with my career of over 10 years, and I don't know how long she was a dispatcher, but there's a lot from stupid to funny to scary to unusual. And then there's also the toxic work environment conversation, the mental health aspect of it, the pay, the disparity between EMS and nursing, just burnout. There's so much stuff there to talk about. Unfortunately, there isn't much support for dispatchers. I've been to 5 debriefing in 25 years as a 911 dispatcher. Dispatchers get left out a lot as we aren't seen as first responders. I can see that. And I can also see how the thing about dispatching, I've never done it, but I can't imagine how helpless a dispatcher must feel to hear things and not be able to like actually do anything. That would be very, very stressful. It was 32 years ago today, in fact, when a guy shot 36 people at Libby's restaurant in Killeen, Texas, which I live near. The police who responded didn't get the mental health care they need. I really enjoyed your discussion talk with the young guy you worked with, Alex. Alex is going to be a dad, by the way. She is a little over halfway last time I talked to him, so I'm super excited about that. I made sure to do debriefings with the crews after traumatic calls. It wasn't always possible to have them all in the same room, so I would have them individually come in. Yeah, Alex. But Alex is banned from my podcast unless he figures out how to talk without saying every 3 seconds. I cut out so many ums from that. I was so annoyed with him. I love him so much. He is my precious, but he says way too much. But yeah, dispatchers, again, I've never been on that end of it, but I imagine that would be a very stressful, helpless thing. Much love and respect to you for having the willpower to move forward every day. Thank you, Mary. Somebody, I don't know why your comment just reminded me of this, but I got a weird comment one time on one of my videos, and it said something like, what was it? I can't remember what it was now, but it was really strange, but it was something about, I don't even want to say now because I can't remember, but it was strange about how do you not, something like, how do you get up every day and not want to die? It was something weird like that. And I was like, I don't know. It's very weird. Good to know I will never be a guest on your podcast. So, okay, so, something that I've noticed that I do since doing YouTube, it drives me crazy. There's 2 things that drive me absolutely crazy when I'm editing. The first thing that I do a lot, and I had no idea, is this. Before I say a word, I smack. So I'll go, So what time are we having supper? And that little makes a spike in the audio. Like your audio's got like a waveform. So you can see like when there's silence or whatever. And I see that little spike and I know exactly what it is. So I always cut that out. And the other thing is, y'all are going to think I'm crazy. If you're talking a lot, I don't know if this is just me or if everybody does this, but I don't notice it on other YouTubers. When I breathe when I'm talking, like it's audible and there's a like distinct little waveform in the audio and I can look and it's just then it's in intervals. I can just look at the waveform and I can see every time I take a breath. And now I'm very aware of it and annoyed with it. And now I've pointed it out to you. So now y'all are going to notice every time before I talk. But I don't notice that when I watch other people talk. And I want to talk faster because I feel like I talk too slow. And again, I'm editing a lot. So I'm having to watch myself a lot. And it's super annoying. I'm trying to talk faster and not say, not do the smacking noise and not have like labored breathing when I'm talking a lot. So, but now that I've told you all that, you're going to notice all of it. No, that's a thing. My theater arts teacher in high school recorded us reading our lines, and you could hear our breaths. So we had to learn to talk without it. I don't hear you breathing. Why not talk without breathing, but to take quieter breaths or take larger breath before speaking? Okay. So I've never talked to anybody about this and I've never noticed it. I don't know anything about it. I just know that when I'm editing, I can see in intervals exactly when I take a breath. And now when I like sitting here talking to you guys, I'm very aware of when I take a breath and I'm annoyed with myself for breathing. Yeah, it's like singing and you breathe deep from your diaphragm. You have a very sensitive mic. Talking a lot causes me to become a little shorter breath. Okay. You get annoyed with yourself while editing? Yes. I get very annoyed with myself while editing. Have you ever heard yourself on video played back and you're like, oh my God, I sound like that? It's like that times 100 because I'm having to like listen to myself over it. So every time I get done editing a video, by the time I'm done editing it, I've seen it so many times that I am so annoyed with myself and I hate the video. And so I make Lee watch it. And that's kind of how I gauge because if he's interested and he's like, I really like this or whatever. So then I feel better and then I'll post it. But by the time I'm done editing with it, I'm so annoyed with myself. Most people hate their voices or their speaking manner. And this I've noticed too. I'm constantly doing this and I feel like that's annoying. But I also feel like if I sat there and didn't move at all, that would be annoying. So feel free to tell me when I'm doing something obnoxious and I will try to improve on it. I'm trying to improve on it. I want to talk faster and not breathe and not be annoying with my hands. Just be yourself. Well, I am being that. I don't think it could be a side effect of being on a vent so long due to lung problems. I have no idea. We can just yell at you. um, Barb, to answer your question, don't you think it could be a side effect on being on? I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I'm short of breath. Like, is it normal to get short of breath when you talk a lot? Because until I started doing this on YouTube, I never really talked like I do. So I find that when I'm talking a lot or talking fast, I get short of breath. So I don't know. I've seen, heard lots of people do that really, so I don't think it's very related. Oh, the breathing thing. Um, Bailey, you've been good tonight. You've been good tonight. And I still have a bunch of ice cream koozies left if anybody wants some. I know it's not really ice cream season, but I live in the South where lots of people smoke cigarettes and eat fried food, so it could be a thing where we can't breathe, period. Very true. Don't worry about it. We are still here for you. Thank you. Just be yourself and not worry about it. We love your personality. I don't notice any problems. We are here for your stories. Thank y'all. I appreciate that. I just don't want to ever. So I'm not somebody that wants an echo chamber. I don't want people to trying to say this and make it make sense. So Ellen, I haven't seen her in here, but Ellen, I'm sure y'all have seen her comment on stuff, but she has a background in TV production or some kind of production, and it was her job. So she's really good about messaging me, and if I do something, weird, she'll point it out, which I've asked her to do. And I really, sorry, my neck is hurting all of a sudden. I actually really not enjoy, but I like constructive criticism. And I think that's because I'm a perfectionist and I cannot stand to do something and not do a good job. So improving is always very important to me. And as long as you're not an asshole, and just send me a hate comment for no reason, please tell me something if you notice that I could do better or whatever. I'm totally down to learn, and especially because I never thought this would be something I would be doing. I've never done before, have no experience with, just kind of fell into it. And that first video that I posted, which I think I talked about this on my YouTube video. The only reason I even put a video on YouTube last year was because I was having when people hear internal decapitation, of course they want to know. So I found myself having to talk about it over and over and over and answer questions and whatever. And finally, one day, I thought, I'm just going to turn a camera on and I'm going to tell my story. That way, when I get asked about it, I can just send people the link or whatever. And the people in our small town, I thought that's the only people that was going to see it. So I thought all the people in our community, they can hear what happened there, and I don't have to just keep having the conversation over and over. And so that's what I did. I posted that first video, and it somehow got into the algorithm immediately, and my channel started very quickly, which again, this is all in my video I'm working on right now, but it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because doing good obviously makes you feel good and it's exciting and all of that. But at the same time, I'm having to learn so much so fast and make mistakes and have bad audio and not be good at this or that. And and people are watching you, not be great, but um I while I was putting this video together for the 1-year YouTube thing, I went back and just to get some clips from old videos, and I was horrified and I could not watch them. I just it's embarrassing and I don't really know why, so I just leave them up and I don't watch them. But I hope I know that from that first video to now, there's been, like, a big improvement. I do know that, but I am still new, so I want to keep improving, especially with editing. I like doing editing. Most YouTubers who are actually like have a good income stream don't edit their own videos, but I like doing that. But it does bog you down where you can't be as productive. So I don't know. We'll see. I like being able to know, okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about this. And I try to make it like I'm telling a story and getting somebody else to edit. They just, it's your story. It's like so you want to be the one to edit it in a way that conveys what you're trying to say. So I like doing my own editing for now, but I hope the podcast videos are not too labor intensive with that. But I know that the work I've put into this 1-year YouTube video, I cannot do on every video. I would like literally not do anything else. So I hope y'all. The thing that would make me the happiest, and I'm not reading comments right now because I'll forget what I'm saying. I will go back and read them though. But the thing that makes me the happiest is when someone comments about the improvement in editing, because y'all have no idea. Well, I mean, you might, but y'all can ask Lee when we do a live together, uh, the editing that goes into a 20-minute video is labor intensive. It's a lot. So, um, when someone notices that the editing has improved, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just feel like I won a gold medal or something. That gets me excited sometimes more than the content. All right, I'm gonna read real quick. Just be yourself, not worry about it. We love your post. Thank you. I hate when people say like all the time. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Agreed, and I do that too, and it annoys me. I annoy myself a lot, actually. Being on a vent and trait for so long makes it hard to talk for long. I wonder if that's maybe what it is. Always ice cream season. I heard that. We love you, Christy. Thank you, Daniel. I have to repeat myself with my cerebral palsy as well. You have a lovely, calming voice. We all care about you in your life. We are always our own worst critic. I've always thought you do a wonderful job. Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys and the ones that came to my not defense, but understood where I was coming from when I posted that comment that I got the other day about how I'm so despicable for making money off of my accident, which, by the way, I have not made one penny off my accident. I have had thousands and thousands of dollars of medical bills to pay. The money that I've made, which I'm going to tell y'all in that video, and the money that I've made, I have earned every penny because I have worked my ass off uh, to have a YouTube channel. So I don't feel bad, not for a second. I have I have earned every penny that I have made with blood, sweat, and tears. So, and I appreciate those of you that understand that and for the support and all of that. Um, Hi, Christy. I finally saw it in the background. Saw what in the background? Him? But I do need to get back to my video and to my couch because my neck is killing me. And I hope y'all enjoyed this live. The first 5 minutes for me are always super awkward. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the jerk who wrote that. Yeah. That's I think that's only the second or third comment. I think I've only had like 3 that were basically saying I was despicable or heinous or whatever for making money off my accident, which again, I've not made a dime off my accident. I've made money working my ass off on the YouTube channel, but I have hydrocephalus. I have since birth, so I understand about your hydrocephalus. Yes, get back to my money making schemes. Yes, yes. Mm. So I will have that video out soon. I don't know when, but I am working really hard on it. It's not my normal content, but I wanted to make it because it is just all about going from nothing to I'm almost up to 12,000 subscribers now in a year and being monetized and all of that. So it's just a video documenting all of that, which would be super helpful for somebody else wanting to start a YouTube, especially somebody that's about my age and not technically inclined like I am. So whenever I do get it out, hopefully in a few days, I hope that you guys enjoy it. And even if you have no interest in the ins and outs of a YouTube channel, just play it and walk away. You don't have to watch it. Just give me the view because I've earned it. I promise. I have earned it on that video. I hope you have a good night and don't sit too long after this live. I'm sure. Yes, I'm about to be in the recliner. So thank you everybody that came. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, the first 5 minutes are always super awkward, but we always end up talking way longer than I plan to. So y'all are great. Love y'all. See you soon. Are you going to talk now? I'm going to go get my recliner and work on my video. I'll see y'all later. Bye.